Jesus said, "Man cannot live on bread alone, but from every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." You're listening to Daily Truth.
Our text today opens up by motivating us. It gives this indicative, this incentive, saying, look, you're surrounded by a great cloud. Israel was led by a pillar of cloud in the wilderness, but you, church, you New Testament saints, you don't just have a pillar of cloud before you, but you actually have a great cloud that encompasses you, engulfs you, and this cloud is not just moisture in the air or signifying the presence, the Shekinah presence of God. But this cloud is a spiritual cloud that represents people, witnesses, all those in the Old Testament. And if anything, my point is to say this cloud has only grown. Now 2,000 years removed from when this letter was written, this cloud of witnesses, if anything, is only larger, significantly larger. And it was called a great cloud even then. So it's referenced as a great cloud of witnesses surrounding these New Testament saints, just a little removed from the cross, the resurrection, and the ascension of Christ. And yet the apostle is saying to these Christians, New Testament Christians, who are Hebrew Christians, he's saying, even in your case, just the Old Testament saints, their number, numerically, that equates to a great cloud, large enough to encompass you, to surround you, and this should motivate you that you are being watched by judges. Not just watched, now notice, not just watched by cheerleaders. It's not just a great cloud of witnesses, those who've gone before you, who were commended for their faith, who died in belief and are now in heaven, and they're cheering you on. No, they're going to judge you. This is indicative of other texts in the scripture that talk about judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Or 1 Corinthians chapter 6, where the apostle Paul, he chastises the Corinthian church, saying, the mere fact that there are lawsuits among you, does this not prove that you are already completely defeated? Right? And then he goes further and he says, he doesn't just say, why not rather be wronged? That's part of the text. That's part of his point. But he doesn't just say, why not rather be wronged? Let's just not have conflict. Let's just not have arguments. But one of his big condemnations to the Corinthian church is not just that they have conflict and things that need to be settled, but the fact that they're taking their conflict, their court cases, before pagan courts. So he's not just saying it's a failure that you have disagreements to begin with and that you can't just let yourself be wrong. No, he says, but it's a even greater failure that when you actually have some kind of grievance between brothers, that you have to go to the pagan courts to settle the dispute. Is there no one wise among you? And then he goes further and says, do you not know that we, the church, will judge angels? So this language of saints who have lived in faith, been commended by God for their faith, and died in faith, and are now with God in heaven, the language is not just that they're watching and not just that they're cheering us on, but they are seated in positions of judgment, that they are judges. And that these witnesses, now, when I say judges, I mean lowercase j judges. God is the ultimate capital case J judge. But you could think of them as, maybe the more accurate language would be jurors. So God is the judge, but there is a jury in heaven of the saints who have gone before us, bearing witness. And they're going to bear witness either for us or against us. God will make the final ultimate judgment. But these witnesses will agree with whatever judgment God renders. They will bear witness as they watch either for us or against us. And that's the preface of our text today that's meant to motivate us. So therefore, run the race, endure, finish the race.